Yeah, and I absolutely need to ask you this, because I come from a rural constituency and I see elderly people going into the bank, not only your own bank in all fairness, but going into the bank, being forced to use machines, the staff, the drive to make the banks staffless, elderly customers being told to go away and come back on Friday or Thursday or Tuesday. You can only do that transaction then. These are people who are dependent on rural transport and maybe have to travel miles to get to the bank. They don't have broadband, so they don't have the option to do that. How do you plan to deal with those customers in the future, or how do you plan to care for those customers? Again, many of those customers who have made contributions, and very valid contributions, to the propping up of the banks and to the investment in the banks. And many of those elderly people who their families have had to immigrate because of the austerity that was imposed on them because of the recklessness of the banks. Again, do you feel a social obligation to those people to provide them with a human being that will help them when they go into a bank? And I would just ask you, how many redundancies have been made in the Bank of Ireland in the last 12 months, and how many redundancies do you foresee for the future 12 or 24 months?
But if I could perhaps answer a couple of those questions, or components of your question, Senator, and I'll ask my colleague who's responsible for our Irish business to carry the rest. Approximately 5,500. We're employing approximately 5,500 less people than we employed back in 2008. All of our redundancy schemes are on a voluntary basis. We have agreements with the trade unions who represent our unionised staff, and they apply to all of our staff. The absolute number of people that we employ in the bank is probably pretty much the same, 6 months on 6 months. Where the people are working and the jobs they're doing is continuing to change as we're evolving and society is evolving. I would also say that our customers, in particular our senior customers, are extremely valuable customers to us. They've been loyal customers for a long, long period of time. They are customers that we would need to do business with. So, not just from a social perspective, but also I would reiterate that as a bank, we have kept our branches open. They are doing different things now. But we have kept our branches open because we think it's commercially sensible. But how do we interact with those senior customers in particular? To answer the main thrust of your question, I'll ask my colleague, Mr. McLaughlin, to help me.
Sure. Senator, the Bank of Ireland has a footprint of 250 branches in the Republic of Ireland. We have closed no rural branches in the last 5 years. So, although every branch has a commercial mandate to make sure it's viable, actually we are working with local communities, and I think it was Mr. Boucher went through a number of initiatives earlier on as well. So we are working to make them commercially viable. In that context, I'd also say transactions across the counter in branches now account for 4% of the transactions that we do. So there's a significant reduction in cash and cheque activity taking place based on customer behaviours. There is a significant move towards digital activity. And actually, our experience has been with elderly customers, they're very familiar and very comfortable in the majority, like over 80% of them are very comfortable using the lodgement ATM machines. In relation to the facility and the service we provide, we've actually moved for all our smaller rural branches, we've moved them all to external lodgement ATM machines, so they have the facility of using those machines, are accessing their own monies, not just 6 hours a day during work weekdays, but actually for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we have extended the scope, and we have found their experiences, because elderly people, are very comfortable with technology, very comfortable using mobile phones, applying for
not if they don't have mobile phone coverage, and not if they don't have broadband. I completely disagree with your synopsis in terms of how people are being treated. And when you say that that the cash transactions are less, of course they're less, because people are being turned away.
I would be surprised if someone's been turned away from our branches, Senator. I'd be disappointed.
I'm afraid that's the reality. Maybe what I could do from today, or what we could do in terms of being useful, is maybe just to have a look again, or maybe to, conduct a survey with your rural and elderly customers, just to ask them first hand, what their preferences are.
I'm going to bring up some of the points you raised anyway, and so I will be bringing them up at a later point. I think I've been more than fair in terms of time allocation, so I'm not trying to cut you off, but I do want to allow every other member in as well. So I will be coming back to some of the retail operation stuff later.
But we would, in particular, I will encourage our colleague who looks after the constituency that you come from to talk to you, in particular, what we offer in your own regional area. And we will make sure to do that and also get your feedback.
I'm not even talking about a particular area, I'm talking about the west of Ireland.
But I know, we understand, but I do understand where you come from.
Thank you.
And there are